This is either going to be a final act of desperation or going to make me look like a pure genius. And it's probably going to be the former rather than the latter. It's the last week of our archery season, and it is the coldest morning of the year so far. So it's like a perfect morning in the low 20s. I lugged in my goofy looking decoy this morning. I have him set up here at 10 yards. I pinned a sock on his rear end just to give some extra weight there. Not sure if the breeze will blow it at all, but I'm trying to attract a little bit of motion. We'll see what happens. I need to get a buck within range. This time of year can be pretty hard with all the running and chasing. You can see the buck, but to actually get him to come to you, I'm hoping this decoy is going to help me. Still don't have a name for the decoy, so if you can think of a name, please put it down in the comments. As you can see, he's pretty sorry looking, but we'll see if he does the job. Well, that didn't work. I think he saw the decoy, or it seemed like he did, but he wanted nothing to do with it, even though he was twice its size. Of course, then I threw everything but the kitchen sink at him in desperation. I always tell myself I'm not going to do that. Like, you got to read his body language and realize he is not coming, and you're only making matters worse. But in the heat of the moment, panic sets in, and you start doing every call you can. But just before him, I saw a 1.5-year-old buck just running. Caught a couple glimpses of him as he was running through the field, but I don't think he saw the decoy. I don't know what he was running after. Sun didn't even come up over the mountain yet, so we could have a long morning ahead of us. Hopefully that buck comes back, or another one. He was a nice buck. Now that was how it's supposed to work. Of course, he was a small buck, does exactly what you want him to, and the big buck doesn't, but he came in just thinking that decoy had to move or something. He just stood there maybe 10 yards away from it, just stared at him. Pretty soon he bristled all up and acted tough and scraped the ground some, pawed at it. And eventually he just worked off. I'm sure he's over there telling his buddies, man, I whooped up on him, but oh well, it worked to perfection there, and it's exactly what you want as a self-filmer, just something to give them a point of interest. Not only do I want to try and draw the deer in, but if I have something they can focus on rather than the big guy up in the tree with the camera and a bow. I have a lot of extra movement and equipment usually, so anything to take the attention off of me and keep their attention drawn to something else is usually good. It's one of the reasons I keep trying these decoys, even though it messes me up sometimes. That was fun. At least we're seeing buck. Keep trying and see what happens. Well, yesterday ended with no more deer coming into the decoy. Did see one doe that came and absolutely turned inside out when she saw the buck decoy and ran the other way. But those were the last deer I saw. This morning we woke up to a completely different landscape. We had 3, maybe 4 inches of snow, followed by a good dousing of rain. So an absolute slosh fest out here this morning. It's dripping from the trees. All the snow's compacted into a wet mess. The good thing is visibility has greatly improved. You can see deer for miles away. Bad part is you won't hear them coming, and with it being so wet and drippy, I'm not sure how that's going to affect things. I know the camera gear does not like it, but it's still November. They still should be rutting. With only a couple days left, I'm going to hunt every chance I get. Well, that was about as slow of a morning as I've had yet this season. Absolute soaker though, just from all the melting snow, and I think my tree might be leaning the wrong way. My camera gear is absolutely soaked. So I'm going to go dry that out and hopefully it didn't ruin too much. Don't forget to leave me a suggestion for my decoy's name, maybe Goofy Gilbert or something like that, just because it is pretty sorry looking. A couple days left here to hunt. We're not going to give up until the closing bell, and of course if I don't fill my tag in the archery season, there's always rifle, and then last case scenario would be late season archery or flintlock. So I appreciate you following along. It's been a lot of fun, well, maybe all except for this morning. I was actually kind of disappointed with the amount of deer movement. I thought there might be more with the snow. I only saw 2 deer. They were young fawns. There's one bedded maybe 150 yards away from me here on the side of the hill. But again, I'm going to keep plugging away here. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next video.